back to the 815 Exchange. I am your host, Chris Crenshaw, and we are live from the 336. Yes, the 336 is where we're taking off from here for episode 27. Why, Chris? Why might you ask? Why are you back in the 336? I thought you were in college, so you're supposed to be in the 704. Well, see, for some reason, UNC Charlotte decided to move spring break up to this week. For whatever reason. I don't know, maybe to stop travel. I mean, I know some people are still traveling, maybe not to the beach, but anyway, so we're back home. We're back in the 336 for episode 27. This is also my first episode post-birthday. You know, insert DMCA material type music that would get me a copyright strike. Yeah, thankful for all the birthday wishes. Thank you guys. I much so appreciate it. Yeah, teenager years are over. I'm now 20. I'm in my 20s now, so we'll see how this goes. And yeah, let's see. We have a plethora of stuff to talk about this week from the sports world. And of course, the big one, which is what I'm going to get to shortly, was the Super Bowl, which was yesterday. But before I do that, of course, first off, unofficial water sponsor of the week, Deer Park. Please send the contract. I will promote that. I just drink a bunch of water. Just go ahead, promote. You know, might as well at this point. You know, between several episodes in, I've always showed love. Might as well. What else? Of course, check the description as always. Highly advised. Unless you're watching this on the TV, then I get it. You can't check the description. But timestamps are in the description as always if you're trying to skip to a certain point. And my social media links if you want to follow me there on TikTok, IG, Snap, Twitter, which is where I'm most active. Go ahead, follow me there. And yeah, you can see what I talk about during the week and see some of the stuff I'm going to talk about on these episodes of the 815 Exchange. But without further ado, let's get straight to it. Super Bowl LV. And what a Super Bowl it was. Everybody expected a shootout. Even I called for a shootout last week. But ladies and gentlemen, exactly what I thought would happen in some facets. I thought the Chiefs' offense was going to do a little bit better, to be honest. I have to be fair, you know. But I did say the Bucs were going to win. I did say certain factors were going to be a problem, and they were. They absolutely were. So, for the first time in Patrick Mahomes' time as starting quarterback for the Kansas City Chiefs, they have lost by more than double digits. They have lost. They did not score a touchdown in this game. Tampa Bay gets to win 31-9. Tom Brady, we'll get to that discussion. But I'm going to talk about the game right now as a whole. Brady, Super Bowl MVP, 21 for 29, 201, 3 touchdowns. Gronk, 6 receptions, 67, 2 touchdowns. Kelsey really had to grind. I'm very interested to see if there's something pre-existing injury. I know there's been a lot of guys they talked about throughout the game. Even Mahomes with the toe injury. About guys that had pre-existing injuries and pre-existing conditions. I'm wondering if Kelsey is one of those. Did have a 10 reception, 133-yard game. It was a very quiet 10 reception, 133-yard game, it felt. Even though it did feel sometimes like he was the only weapon that the Kansas City Chiefs had in this game. Clyde Edwards-Helaire on the ground had 9 carries for 64 yards. He had 2 receptions for 23 yards. Tyreek Hill had 7 receptions for 73. But where it was most apparent for this Chiefs offense was the fact that it really did feel like Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce were the only receivers out there. And then finally they started using Clyde Edwards-Helaire. They finally started using CEH. Also, LSU, 7 players in the Super Bowl. That was crazy. Great recruiting tactic. But yeah, where was Mecole Hardman? Where was these other guys? You know, Sammy Watkins. You know, all of these other guys that if they're doing such a great job coverage-wise on Cheetah, on Kelsey, that you would think it would open up the game for, Tampa Bay shut them down. Completely shut them out of the game. Tampa's defense, once again, I said they were going to be the difference maker the way they had been playing the whole, playoffs. And I said, I don't know why I said this, I did a tweet. I'll probably pop it up here because I probably got some right here. Yeah, I had some people tell me that offensive line wasn't really going to matter. And What did I tell you? Tampa with Shaquille Barrett, JPP, Devin White was still on some blitzes. Vita Vea, Sue. I knew that them losing those two major pieces, two all-pro caliber offensive linemen, offensive tackles especially, I knew that was going to be a problem. The Chiefs could not handle their pressure all night. Mahomes was running for his life. Pat was running for his life. Overall, he didn't have a great game. I mean, they didn't score any touchdowns. He was only 26 for 49, 270, had 2 interceptions. But this game wasn't completely on him. I mean, Kelsey had a drop, Cheetah had a drop. There was a lot of dirt. Darrell Williams had a bad drop late. Just a lot of guys did not show up on that offense, and that ended up costing him. Mahomes running for his life. That offensive line did not do a great job protecting him. Eric Bellamy, who was supposed to be the number one contender for head coaching jobs, did not have a great game. Didn't call a great game. Got outdone. Just straight up got outdone by Todd Bowles. So I have to give him a big shout out to Bowles. Did a great job scheming up. Antoine Winfield Jr. Oh my goodness! Last year, when I was thinking about creating the podcast, and it was around NFL draft time, and I was like, maybe I'll do like NFL draft previews, similar to what I'll do this year, right? And I wanted Antoine Winfield. He was my second ranked behind Okuda. He was my second ranked defensive back coming out. I loved his tape at Minnesota. I loved how he played at Minnesota. I knew he was going to be a star. I wanted the Cowboys to get him, even though I'm happy with CD, love CD, great. But man, I wanted Winnie. I wanted Winnie so bad. So bad. So not surprised to see him show out. The ton against Cheetah, of course. I was at first irate, but after reevaluating the situation, I was like, you know what? It was fair play, especially after what Cheetah did to him during the regular season. Good for him to get revenge. Devin White got an interception there. Again, going to be one of the best linebackers. That's another one in the league, if he's not already. Special talent. But yeah, great job by defense of shutting down the Chiefs' offense, which is, of course, not a very easy thing to do when you got guys like Mahomes, Kelsey, and Cheetah. But they did it. They were difference makers. Now let's talk about that Bucs offense. I find it super wild how Antonio Brown, who 3 years ago, was considered the best receiver in the league, arguably right beside Julio. That was the conversation, who was better, him or Julio. And I found it just wild how he's become just kind of like the third guy on this Bucs offense that just kind of everybody kind of forgets about. Everybody's like, oh yeah, they do have Antonio Brown. And AB showed up, got the touchdown yesterday, so that was good for him. Call God. Gronk, oh my goodness. Best tight end of all time. Argue with your mother. I don't think that's a big argument like the other thing is, possibly. But yeah, Gronk, best tight end of all time. That TB to 87 connection, man, is just special. Special. One of the best of all time. And yeah, Gronk shows up. He did a great job blocking throughout the playoffs, but this time to see him get those back into receiving games, especially in the red zone, big reason why. Of course, I have to talk about the pass interferences. I know this is a big topic. The refs were in Brady's pocket. Well, here's the thing, and here's why I can't give the Chiefs the benefit of, the refs were in, the NFL had the refs in Brady's pocket. Because, yes, even though there was some shoddy, a few of those pass interference calls in that first half, I probably wouldn't have called myself. I would have let play, go on. But at the end of the day, Kansas City didn't really do a great job of stopping Tampa Bay's offense, and you only scored 9 points. It wasn't like this was a close game. It wasn't like that Rams Saints NFC Championship where Roby Coleman, a blatant pass interference that didn't get called, and that changed the game. This did not, this was a beatdown from start to finish. The Chiefs, even without the pass interferences, besides Honey Badger, and I said this to my boy, they were looking very shook. The whole team as a whole. They looked undisciplined. They did not look like they were the returning, defending Super Bowl champions. They looked out of their depth. I don't know if it's because you were playing Brady or they just didn't feel comfortable, especially in that secondary against all of the Buccaneers' great elite weapons. I don't know what it was, but Breland, none of them look comfortable out there. If you are grabbing that much and having to try to get that physical, that tells me that you know that you can't cover. You know you can't cover Chris Godwin. You know that you have no shot of covering Mike Evans, Antonio Brown, Gronk, maybe even Cameron Brate. That's what that tells me. If you are having to grab and attempt to try to get that physical, for some reason, why you're trying to get physical with Mac, you know what, never mind. If you're having to do that, and you're having to resort to trying to do all this stuff, that tells me you did not have confidence in your secondary, and your secondary had no confidence and belief in themselves of being able to be up to the matchup. They weren't up to the matchup. The Chiefs' defense was not up to the matchup. They played, I don't know if it was emotion. This was a very emotional game. Those Brady and Honey Badger exchanges were absolutely hilarious in that first half. Those Brady Honey Badger, as I was saying before the phone went off, those Brady and Honey Badger exchanges were hilarious. Straight comedy. But yeah, listen. I can't give y'all that if y'all didn't. You didn't. If it was a close game, I'd be like, okay, maybe. But this was not a close game. This was not a close game. So I really can't. I can't give y'all that. Y'all can't use that. It's not valid. It's just not valid. Y'all got beat. Straight up, the Buccaneers were the better team than the Chiefs. I said this last week with the injuries going on with the Chiefs, with the way the Bucs have been playing. It's how I saw it going down, and that's how it went down. Let me check my time real quick. Yeah, we good. Brady being the undisputed GOAT, of course, now is the real question. This man has more Super Bowls than any other team in NFL history. Yes, one man has more Super Bowl rings than any other team in NFL history. I know the Patriots are kicking themselves, though the fans love Brady, so it's all good. They did say on their Twitter, congratulations to the greatest of all time. And I think it's fair to say, at this point, Tom Brady is the greatest football player to ever lace them up. It's hard to argue with everything going in his favor right now, especially the postseason, the championship metrics. 7 Super Bowls is insane. It's insane. 7 rings is insane in any team sport. For one player, and you add that in with he has the MVPs, he has the Pro Bowls, he has the regular season success, he has the accolades, one of the most decorated football players of all time, if not the most decorated. I feel comfortable calling him. I know previously I probably would have called Jerry Rice the GOAT, but Tom Brady, I think, is the undisputed football GOAT. Now everybody's talking about the big discussion this morning is greatest athletes of all time. I'm not sure if I can give Tom Brady GOAT, pro sport athlete ever. I don't know if I can do all that. Sure, there's an argument as to him being the greatest football player of all time. There's definitely an argument. He's sure he could be in that argument. I can't give him that. Greatest winner. I'll leave that all up for you, stuff for you guys to debate. You tell me if you think he's the GOAT of all GOATs. You tell me if you think he's the GOAT just in general. Good win for the Bucs. They get it done. We'll see what happens next year. Of course, he's coming back. We'll see if they can keep that core of that offense coming back. Shout out to Fournette and Rojo. Did a great job. We'll see if they stay together. Good win. Great to see Bruce Arians, stand-up guy. He's a great dude. Great to see him get that win. And the Chiefs, I think they'll be back. Mahomes, he's young. Youngest ever to be in 2 Super Bowls. I wouldn't hit the panic button. Though, very soon y'all going to have to figure out how to pay everybody. But I think the Chiefs will be back. We'll see if the Bucs can get back. Brady's not showing any signs of retiring or declining. So, especially when you give him weapons like this. So, we'll see what goes on there. What else from the Super Bowl can I talk about? The halftime show, The Weeknd. Yes, my boy Abel. Surprised they even let him get into the House of Balloons. Though he did like snippets, so I mean, I guess you can see how they got to do that. Honestly, wasn't my favorite, even though I love The Weeknd. Was not my. I can't sit here and act like it was my favorite Super Bowl halftime show of all time. Um, I think it would have been better. I think there were some cool set pieces, of course, that he had in there. And of course, we all know Bell can sing. However, we could not hear him sing. We absolutely could not hear him sing. The sound mixing was bad. It was bad. So I don't know who the engineer was. Should have got that sound, that audio better for the audiences at home at least. So we could have heard him better. I think that would have enhanced the visual component which was there of the performance. I have no problems with the songs he did. In fact, I liked them. Did a great job. The Hills, played all the hits. Hop back into the trilogy bag briefly. Great job by Bell. Of course, never easy job doing the Super Bowl. We'll see who does it next year and how that goes. But it was alright. It was alright. It was nothing special. Yeah. Again, think maybe that's something I've been on the audio, side of things. What else? Super Bowl commercials. Of course, I have to talk about the Super Bowl. We got commercials because the commercials were must watch at the Super Bowl. Of course, we had Timothy Chalamet as Edward Scissorhands' son. I was very surprised about how well he actually fit in that. It kind of makes me think of him compared to Johnny Depp, and kind of seeing that comparison as them two as actors, and kind of visually in what they are to their respective generations. That Chalamet killed that. Very excited to see him in Dune. That's one of my highly anticipated movies of the year. What else? Oh, the State Farm. That seems to be the standout one that everybody liked, besides Michael B. Jordan as Alexa, and John Cena's Mountain Dew, because that was for money. Drake from State Farm. Paul Rudd also making a cameo as Mahomes' fill-in. I like that commercial. That was dope. Funny how Drake, had time to make that State Farm commercial, but cannot finish CLB and drop the album. One of these Fridays, one of these Fridays. So I have to keep telling myself, just one of these Fridays we'll get it. Maybe one of these Fridays. But I think that's all of the Super Bowl coverage. Did I have anything else for the NFL? All right, to finish up with the NFL section here. My last bit of stuff, we've covered the Super Bowl stuff. Now we've got the Hall of Fame, ladies and gentlemen. How is Torrey Holt and Zach Thomas still not in? Nonetheless, this year's Hall of Fame class, oh my goodness. Peyton Manning, of course, lock. Charles Woodson, again, obviously. And Calvin Johnson, Megatron is a Hall of Famer now. Those were the first ballot guys. Really no surprises there. I think that's what everybody expected. Three of the greatest all time in their positions. Woodson has a very good argument for greatest DB of all time. Megatron is one of the greatest. I'm not going to put him as arguably the greatest, but one of the greatest receivers ever, especially off of natural talent. And of course, Peyton Manning, one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. Probably number 2, number 3, depending on who you ask. Alan Faneca is a Hall of Famer. John Lynch, Tom Flores, Bill Nunn, and the original 88, former Dallas Cowboys. So shout out to Drew Pearson. That is the Hall of Fame class. I think that's a very, very good Hall of Fame class. One of the best I can remember. Still some guys like Holt and Zach Thomas and Leroy Butler that I think should be getting in, but hopefully with the opportunity, not as strong of as a first ballot class next year, but hopefully those guys can get in very soon. That's the NFL Hall of Fame. We also had the NFL Honors. Kevin Stefanski of the Browns wins Coach of the Year. I think that's very valid. I agree with that one. I had Stefanski. I think I called Stefanski Coach of the Year on a previous episode. Alex Smith, Comeback Player of the Year. No surprises there. No surprises at all. I think everybody pretty much expected that one. Chase Young and Justin Herbert win Rookie of the Year. Chase Young, already a superstar in Washington. Just got better as the season got on. Looked like he adjusted to the league. And he's going to be a menace to the NFC East for times and years to come. Herbert, I know the conversation was between him and Jetta's. Though I don't think this is a robbery, I think Justin Herbert could have won it. I may have even said Justin Herbert should have won it. Dude had an amazing year, especially with how everybody was kind of like, thought he was absolutely going to be a bust. Not necessarily me, but there was a lot of people saying he was going to be a bust. He was absolutely not a bust for the Chargers, so very worthy there. T.J. Watts versus Aaron Donald for Defensive Player of the Year is a very interesting conversation. AD, of course, won. He gets his third Defensive Player of the Year. Ties him for the record with J.J. Watt and Lawrence Taylor. Clearly makes him one of the best defensive players at this point of all time. But there's a very valid argument that T.J. Watt should have won this award. Of course, he said he's going to take that personal on Twitter. And we'll see what happens next year. Either way, two of the best defensive players in the league, regardless. And the MVP, and apparently engaged to Shailene Woodley, is Aaron Rodgers. So congratulations to the MVP on winning the MVP and on his engagement. A-Rod, the MVP, he was kind of the favorite there at the end. Rodgers gets his MVP. I think that's his third, if I'm correct. Which ironically ties him with Favre. Favre had 3 MVPs and 1 ring. Rodgers also has 1 ring, 3 MVPs. I guess technically he has 2 rings. But yeah, 1 MVP, 3 rings. That's consistency, Packers. That's consistency. I don't think Jordan Love is going to give you that same consistency, but you've hit 2 straight times in a row, so we'll see if you can hit a third and he can have the same success that Favre and Rodgers have had. And without ado, that concludes an absolutely packed, I feel like I was talking about the NFL forever, a packed NFL segment. And with that said, I will transition to the MMA world. We did have UFC Fight Night. Of course, we have a UFC event, a big UFC event this weekend coming up. But for what happened this past weekend, we had in the main event, Alexander Volkov take on Alistair Overeem. And the Demolition Man, Ubereem, was not too uber. In fact, he looked washed. This was the first time that it really looked like Overeem's age and damage caught up to him. Because Volkov completely dismantled him. It was a dominant performance from Volkov. Definitely an eyebrow raiser. And definitely going to move him up that heavyweight rankings, which is a thin division as is, especially for contenders at the top. Of course, we got Stipe versus Ngannou 2, which is a huge matchup. But Volkov definitely playing himself into eventually getting another heavyweight title match for himself. And yeah, completely demolished Overeem. If he can keep this up, I have no arguments with him getting one. Corey Sandhagen with a knockout of the year. A knockout of the year. That flying knee, if you haven't seen it, go see it. Sandhagen versus Edgar knockout. 28 seconds. This was not a great game. This was not a great day to be a legend in MMA. Both of them got demolished, though. Clay Guida, he did get the win. But Corey Sandhagen, absolutely highlight reel knockout of Frankie. Hate to see it because Frankie's a great guy. But yeah, big win for Corey. Get back in winning ways. We'll see what he can do in that very, very interesting featherweight division at 145. To take a guy like Frankie out like that, we'll see if that has lasting damage for Frankie. But yeah, Corey gets himself back into that contendership. Get back into starting to talk about him versus some of those big names in the F-Dub division. So good stuff from him. Highlight reel knockout. Apparently it was a decent event. I didn't get to see much because I was preoccupied with birthday stuff. But yeah, that was Fight Night. Of course, here's my prediction for this week's UFC event. I think it's UFC 258. I'll look this up recently. Yeah, UFC 258. Big matchup, Kamaru Usman, the Nigerian Nightmare, versus Gilbert Burns. I think this is probably the best matchup besides Colby right now for Usman. I do expect Kamaru to get the win, unless he's fallen off in his absence. I think he's going to be a very dominant champion and might go down as the best welterweight of all time when all is said and done. I think he's that good and has the ability to be that dominant. But yeah, I think Usman takes out Burns. I think it's going to be a very interesting fight. I'm not going to sure if it's going to be a very good fight. I expect a lot of grappling, but this could be one of those times similar to Colby where expecting a big kind of grappling matchup turns into a major standout matchup, which was very exciting last time, but we'll see. I will be absolutely tuned in, though, for Usman Burns. And hopefully it's a good one. Hopefully it's a great event. UFC's been on a good run. I can't wait for the embeddeds this week. As you know, highly encourage you to go check them out in the lead up to a fight. They do a great job with that. So, yeah. Now, for college basketball. Mac McClung did not have the greatest start to the week. Of course, we talked about him as one of the most dangerous men in the world last week, especially with under a minute. Well, he didn't have to deal with that this week. Close game against Oklahoma, however. Though he did not have his best game, they did get the win. But Mac did not have his best game. I think his only points were off of free throws. He did have that highlight reel block. He did recover and play back up to his National Player of the Year contender standards against Kansas State. He had 23. Texas Tech gets another win. We'll see if they can continue this momentum. Sometimes all it takes is one special player, as we've seen in March. It takes one special player to really make that difference in March and really make things happen. And McClung could definitely be a contender and a candidate to be one of those type of guys with the way he's played down the stretch here. Keeping it in the Big 12, West Virginia gets the win 91-79 over Kansas. Deuce McBride has been great. He had 29. How in the world was Kansas ranked this week? I don't know. They've won one game out of their last 8. One out of their last 8, and they were still ranked for some reason. They are now 12-7, I believe. Kansas is not looking. They're looking horrific right now. They're trending to. They might even fall if at this rate. They might fall into the NIT if there's still going to be an NIT this year. Just great game from West Virginia. Deuce McBride, like I said, he's been great this year. West Virginia's done a great job this year. Losing Oscar Toshiba is not easy, but they've done a great job trying to recover. Kansas, though, in absolute free fall. Bill Self got to get those boys right. And to end off in the Big 12, Cade Cunningham and Oklahoma State take out Texas 75-67 in an OT. However, Cade did not play a great game. I can't lie to you. I think he shot 5 for 22. This was not a great game for Cade. Caleb Boone, however, was the star. 22 points, 15 rebounds. OK State, we'll see if they can get ranked here. We'll see if they can make some noise. Big win over Texas, who have been a very good team this year. So, big win for them. Let's see. Illinois and Wisconsin, 75-60. This Illinois team is, I know Gonzaga and Butler have cleared everybody, to be honest. They clearly look like the two best teams in college basketball, but Illinois is they're showing some stuff lately that has got me thinking that they might be a dark horse in the NCAA tournament come that time. Ayo Dosunmu, of course, one of the best players in college basketball. He had this first triple-double, 21, 12, and 12. Kofi Cockburn is one of the best centers in the country. He had 23 and 14. Huge performances from that duo. One of the best duos in the country. Some would probably argue the best duo in the country. Or up there with one of the best duos in the country. They played a great game, took out Wisconsin, a ranked opponent. The Big 12 has been chaotic as usual. Iowa lost this past week. It's going to be a very interesting tournament. I know a lot of people have been talking about people opting out of their conference tournaments. I don't want to see that. I think that's stupid. Play in your conference tournament. I get it, COVID, you're trying to protect yourself, but that makes it very hard for seeding to be done in the NCAA tournament. Because then it's like you have these teams that may have not been in, or people that were on the bubble that would have got in had there been a normal circumstance surrounding the conference tournament, but now they're not going to get in because so-and-so just won their tournament game. So I think that's going to be an issue. Play in your conference tournament. Listen, hopefully they can contain COVID, of course, but please play in your conference tournament. It should be a very interesting conference tournament as well, so from an entertainment perspective, it would be very, very exciting with the way conference play has been this year. And yeah, I think that's it in college basketball. That's all I got. Oh, I guess Carolina and Duke. I mean, that kind of went as expected. I'm a, Duke fan, and this is not me being salty, because I don't know if I said last week, but I expected us to lose. This season's a wash. I have said that on the podcast. This season's a wash. So I really didn't have any emotion. In fact, this was the least amount of emotion I've seen from Carolina and Duke fans that I know about this game. I think it's because both of us are unranked and both of us suck. Even though Carolina's probably going to make the tournament and we're just going straight home, which is what we deserve. We'll be good a year from... this team is built to be good a year or two from now, but this is not going to be... Even though I thought we were going to be better than we are, this team is clearly not built for this season, so... I ain't too mad about it. It is what it is. Carolina gets the win. Of course, it's not good losing to them, but I didn't expect anything less. Carolina's student body completely disregarding COVID to storm Franklin Street. That's strange. Also, again, we're unranked. Y'all were supposed to win this game. I don't know why you were so excited. I don't get it. I wouldn't have been pumped up about beating y'all this year. I would have probably laughed at you because I don't know how y'all have lost to us. But, nonetheless, go crazy. Enjoy the new corona cases that I'm sure to follow. And enjoy the rest of your mediocre season, as I'm sure we will enjoy the rest of ours. Okay, now to take a brief intermission before I get to the NBA and I think the roundup here. Let's talk about the entertainment industry that has been providing for me this past couple weeks. We'll start off with music. Push Shiesty, that's the album I'm going to focus on this week. Shiesty season. Push Shiesty, who's been one of the hardest artists out recently. Of course, I talked about Should Have Ducked last week on the Lil Durk Deluxe. And of course, as you've probably heard by now, Back in Blood. He dropped Shiesty season. Haven't listened to it in full. I will admit, I was very busy this past week and this weekend. Didn't get to it. I've listened to first couple songs. I've liked it, loved it. He's killed everything on the features so far, him feature-wise, or even on Back in Blood, which is on this album. Killed everything I've heard so far, so I have high expectations. No rating because I haven't finished it, but from all accounts, from everybody I know that has listened to it, they have rave reviews, so I have high expectations. But yeah, congratulations to Pooh on the album release. Heard it was fire, so we'll see if it really was. But, ladies and gentlemen, the TV industry has been fulfilling me so recently. And it's been these two very special shows. WandaVision episode 5. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Pedro is back, but not the Pedro you were thinking, perhaps. Maybe you thought it was going to be Aaron Taylor Johnson's Pedro. But no, it was the right Pedro. It was the cool Pedro. It was the Pedro from the X-Men movies, which means the multiverse is back. There's a bunch of, stuff going on. A lot of people talking about, is Doctor Strange going to show up here? Of course, this was kind of leaked. I mean, I feel like everybody kind of because of the leaks, people knew Pedro. I didn't see the leaks, but I kind of knew Pedro was going to come back. Anyways, Pedro Maximoff showed up at the end there. Evan Peters, Pedro. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what this is. Is this a Quicksilver from another, universe? Which is what I suspect. And he's been brought in somehow. Is this just Wanda kind of his imagination? It's going to be very interesting. Wanda's losing control. We've noticed in these episodes, Wanda's losing control of the world. Vision's caught on to her. Agnes has been very suspicious. The boys just keep growing and growing and growing. Pretty much on demand. I think they have some type of powers. Based off of what I know off of the comics and based off of how they're acting in the show. I wouldn't be surprised if they have some sort of powers. Apparently, they're also real. Based off of what Sword and the investigators have been getting outside of the hex, as they're calling it. But yeah, WandaVision, very good show. If you haven't joined the bandwagon, go ahead and do that. And enjoy yourself. It is a great show. A great, great show. I can't wait till next week. Let's see. Next, we got Attack on Titan episode 9. I think it's always nice to have some of these episodes where we recap, especially when there's a time jump involved, to kind of see what's happened over the past couple of years. And we saw that in Attack on Titan episode 9. We found out who Yelena was. We found out how the former Marlians, the anti-Marlians, came aboard Paradis and how they arrived and how they got involved. We got some more of Levi and Zeke's dynamic, is what I will call it. Levi's undying hatred and them putting the monkey in the tree. Sasha and, I can't remember his name. The cook that they brought over. Nicolo. Sasha and Nicolo, I guess Nicolo caught feelings, but who didn't catch feelings for Sasha? Seeing him cook the food for them and his reaction, of course. We had Sasha's funeral because Gabby is still an annoying character. I'm so glad there was maybe 3 seconds of screen time for her because that's all she deserves. I still don't sympathize with her. Get her out of here. I know she's not going anywhere. Please get her out of here. Falco, he's cool though. Kid, he's just out of his water. It's not his fault. But Gabby is an op. Nonetheless, yeah, what else? Oh, Aaron's kind of transformation. Armin talking to Annie. I guess Annie's somehow going to come out of the chrysalis. It looks like she's gotten older. Of course, Armin, he lied to Aaron about not having Bertholdt's memories. We'll see if Armin is romantically interested in Annie now. Is it something Bertholdt? Is it just Armin in general? It seems like everybody, the big three, is kind of becoming disillusioned. Though Mikasa and Eren at the end, they're kind of finishing each other's sentences per usual. And I would be very shocked to see Mikasa really ever turn on Eren. But it seems like they're all kind of breaking apart because they have different feelings on how Paradis should be attacking or dealing with the Marlian situation. Eren is completely changed. And it is time for Man Bun Eren, which has been highly anticipated. I know that's going to have a lot of viewers and bring a lot of viewers in. He's a draw, what can I say, Man Bun Eren. My boy grew up. He grew up and he's a different breed now. But yeah, his attitude has completely changed. We'll see what's the deal with that. And what's the deal with the big three? We'll see. I'm still sketchy of Yelena and Zeke. I'm going to be honest. I feel like there's a bigger hand at play here. And we'll see what happens. But I'm highly looking forward to the next episode. WandaVision and Attack on Titan have said it the past couple weeks. 2 of the best shows on television. Highly encourage you to go check them out. Nothing but good stuff so far. So that's that. Now for the NBA. Lamelo Ball. Yes, Lamelo Ball. Fresh off of a 32 points performance, I believe. I think he's my Rookie of the Year. I think he's everybody's Rookie of the Year. I was hard on LaMelo, justifiably so. I think I said this last week because he was performing well last week. Or I've said this before. Anyways, LaMelo is hitting this is why you have a ceiling and you have a floor for a player when you're evaluating them. Because Lamelo has shown that he clearly got better over the offseason. Because everything he wasn't, except for the defense, but nonetheless, everything he was not able to do in Australia and wasn't doing, he's just about doing in the NBA. The thing that was always going to separate him from being a solid player and a potentially great player, or all NBA type talent, or even superstar, was his ability to make shots. And he had struggled with that before. Of course, we'd seen the flashes. Lamelo was the king of showing flashes of brilliance. Well, he's been brilliant so far this year because he's been able to make shots. That field goal percentage is up, and you've seen it in the games that he started. 32 points. I think he had 24 the game before that. He's been a great playmaker. We know he's a great rebounder. Defense, still got to work on that. But he's doing everything else, and I have to appreciate that. LaMelo Ball looking like clear-cut Rookie of the Year. Looking like the clear-cut Rookie of the Year right now. He's done a great job. That's been great for Charlotte. Charlotte, a much more fun place to watch. And, of course, the 704 is very excited as a city for LaMelo. So, great to see that. Hopefully he can keep it up. And, definitely rooting for him. Charlotte, 704. Let's get it. Big trade. Well, kind of a big trade. I can't even really call it a big trade. It's an important trade. Because Tom Thibodeau's undying love for Derrick Rose continues. Rose is back with Thibs. They traded DSJ, who's probably going to be playing in the G League bubble, which is what I'm going to talk about next. DSG probably headed to the G League bubble, but he gets traded with a second rounder for Rose to Detroit. Rose back with Thibs. Thibs loves D Rose. Unfortunately, he cannot play him 40 minutes a game, simply for D Rose's own health. Emmanuel quickly has been playing great for the Knicks, so I'm kind of shocked at the move. I'll be interested to see how it goes down for the Knicks and how Rose fits into that. Just kind of that situation. Hopefully DSJ is able to go to the G League bubble and he can get back, because dude's a mixtape legend. He's a North Carolina high school basketball legend. Dude was a beast at Trinity Christian and at NC State. I thought he was going to be a superstar for sure. He definitely caught some Derrick Rose comparisons back in high school. So, interesting trade there. But we'll see how it goes for both teams. Of course, the G League comes back this week. We finally get to see John Kuminga. Kai Soto's currently in the Philippines. He'll be back. Deshaun Nix, Isaiah Todd, and of course, the unicorn and potential number 1 overall pick, Jalen Green. We finally get to see them back in the G League bubble. Of course, I'm very excited to see how they play. Much so looking forward to that. And being able to evaluate those guys. It's been far too long, especially for JK and JG, since we've been able to see them. So, that is very exciting. Big performance of the week. I have to give to Fred VanVleet. Dude became a dad and just turned the clock back and became Wichita State Fred VanVleet. Dude's just been a beast. He justified that contract with a 54-point performance against Orlando. Went 9 for 9 from 3. Very, very efficient performance. Been a very efficient season for FVV. Big performance from him. Joker, MVP favorite. Also scored 50 in a loss, however. Joker's still killing it. But great game from Fred VanVleet. Of course, this past week we also had Braun versus Karen. And that whole fiasco, no free clout. I'm not giving out her name. But Braun had to deal with that situation. Of course, they played the Pistons in double overtime. Braun had 33 and 11. He closed that out in classic LeBron form. Lakers looking very good this season. And in one of the games of the year, 134 to 132, the Dallas Mavericks, who haven't been the greatest this season, get the win over the Golden State Warriors in one of the best games you'll see, one of the best duels you'll see between Steph Curry and Luka. There's been a lot of talk about Luka this week. But before I get to that, Steph Curry, 57 points, 11 threes. Luka had 42, 11, and 7 with 7 threes. So a great game from two superstars. A lot of talk about Luka's play style and him whining and him appealing and playing to try to get foul calls. Has been a very big topic of discussion. It kind of seems like Luka's becoming more of a villain here in the league. I don't love it, but, I get it. I mean, Harden's been doing this and it's worked. So until it's fixed, it's going to be exploited. Luka, again, probably still the best young player on the planet. Though there's some aspects of his game he definitely needs to work on before we start calling him top 5, like he was being called top 5 before the season. But very good. But the Mavericks need to get something going and keep building. Clearly they need a couple more pieces, though this is a very good win against Chef Curry and co. With that said, I believe that covers all of my major notes. And we have reached the Roundup. Yes, indeed. And with that said, we are going to kick it first to hockey. I'll talk briefly about hockey. Been a whole lot of high-scoring games. A whole lot of high-scoring games in the hockey world recently. A lot of high-scoring games. The Oilers continue to confuse. McDavid and Dratsai continue to put up a bunch of points. But their reliance on them is ridiculous. And it's too much. It's excessive. It's going to wear them down in their caliber of play. These guys are great, but they're not machines. Oilers need to get better everywhere else. You cannot waste generational talent like McDavid and near generational talent with Dratsai. Oilers bad. McDavid and Dratsai good. And, things need to be answered there. Sunrise Christian, one of the top teams in the nation. Kennedy Chandler, Kendall Brown, 2 5-stars right there. They have a great team. They end Montverde's, 44-game win streak. Huge. Knock out the number 1 overall team in the land. Big win for Sunrise, especially since getting Jaden Akins. I think they're definitely one of the best, if not after this, proving that they're the best team in the country. Kennedy's a dog. Kendall's a dog. Very excited to see how the rest of their season goes and see if we're going to have Geico. Big high school basketball news there. In the Premier League, huge game yesterday. Man City takes out Liverpool 4-1. Of course, Man U's been surging, but these were the other top teams in that top 3. Man City, I think Pep surpassed his longest win streak of his managerial career. Manchester is on fire right now. Both teams. Phil Foden is a future superstar. Dude was phenomenal yesterday. Sterling got into it. Great game for Man City. Not the greatest game for Liverpool. Liverpool fans look away. It was a miserable game to be a Liverpool fan. But Man City, that Manchester Derby, if we have one coming up, is going to be must watch. As Man City and Man U have been on absolute warpath so far in the Premier League, and it'll be very interesting to see how that goes the rest of the season. And I'll end off with Teofimo Lopez's comments on celebrity boxing. The king of the lightweight division and one of the best pound-for-pound fighters on the planet, Teofimo Lopez, is not a big fan, to say the least, of the celebrity boxing thing. His comments about Floyd, saying Floyd was ruining his legacy. Of course, he had the tweet, which I'll probably pop up, or if I hadn't already popped up right here. And here's my thing. I get it. But this is not ruining the sport of boxing. It's not tainting the sport of boxing. These guys aren't actually fighting for the WBC and WBA. In the ring, they aren't fighting for those titles. And the thing is, it's helping the sport of boxing. It is. It's helping the sport of boxing. It's bringing new audiences to the sport of boxing. It's doing, because boxing's problem the past couple of years, let's be honest, has been the lack of superstars. We haven't really had superstars, major draws since Floyd, with respect to Canelo, in the sport of boxing. Let's be honest. If we had superstars, if Tio was a superstar, then we could absolutely make this claim. We don't need celebrity boxing. Because we have superstars. We have matchups that people want to see. The celebrity boxing, they're giving matchups that people want to see. It's reflected in these numbers. When T.O. starts putting up Logan, Jake, or JJ numbers boxing-wise, I will absolutely feel fine with, we don't need celebrity boxing. I still won't say it's tainting the sport, but I will say, we can get rid of it because we don't need it, because we have superstars here. Boxing needs to establish superstars. I think the lightweight division has a lot of guys, including T.O., that could potentially be that and fulfill that, but you haven't done it yet. When you start pulling on those PPV numbers on the caliber of the celebrities, feel free to. Another problem I don't have with it, they're taking this seriously. They're training for it. Sure, these call-outs or some of them are lavish. I have no problem with Floyd fighting these guys. Floyd is retired. This is not ruining his legacy. I highly doubt he's going to lose to Logan or Jake or to 50 Cent. And yeah, boxing needs new audiences. They need to find a way to tap in with the youth. If you want boxing to reclaim its popularity, to be popular again, they have to be able to appeal to the masses. Learn to market yourself. If you're a boxer and you hate the celebrity boxing, learn to market yourself. Make yourself a star. That's why these people are getting in demand. This is why we have these fights, because people want to see them. That's why. So, yeah, we'll see what that is. I'm running out of time here, which means it's time for me to wrap this up. But, yeah, very, very huge episode, of course. Hopefully a good episode. First one at 20. And yeah, it's been fun. It's been fun. Episode 27 in the books. I will be back in the 704 next week. But yes, without further ado, remember to like, share, and subscribe. Show all the support, social media links at the end of this video or in the description. Yeah, thanks for all the birthday wishes. 20 years old now. We'll see how this goes. But, Ocho, signing off.